Hey everybody, welcome to Making Sense with Dustin Lamontagne from Mackey Research Capital. My name is Bryn Griffiths. We're with you every 2 weeks. Dustin, how you doing today?
Really good, Bryn.
Pushing tin. This is an interesting topic. Explain to me what pushing tin is. I immediately think of air traffic controllers, but I don't think that's what you're talking about today.
Actually, that is what I'm talking about.
Really?
Yeah, pushing tin is,
okay.
Of course, the term used by traffic controllers to move planes right through the sky.
Yes.
And the reason I wanted to talk about the airline industry today and that sector in particular is because we have a huge occurrence taking place in the Canadian airline industry with ONX, which is a big conglomerate out of Toronto, taking over WestJet. And WestJet, of course, headquartered out of Calgary, is something that us Westerners are extremely familiar with.
And a lot of people are very proud of it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think a company that evokes regional pride. And, starting from one plane, I think it was in 1994, 95, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that time frame, to grow to, a fairly large international carrier.
With a great reputation, by the way.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it really has given Canadians an alternative to Air Canada all these years. But getting back to the takeover, ONX is buying WestJet for $31 a share. They're gonna roll WestJet under their corporate umbrella, and we'll see what happens from then on forward. But I think this is going to mean some good things for Canadians, both from a competitive perspective, pricing, and it's probably going to be good for Air Canada as well.
Who are also going through a bit of a change with Air Transat, right?
Yeah, you bet. They just absorbed Air Transat. So there's a lot happening in the aviation industry. If you look worldwide, the aviation industry is massive. And I think in the next 20 years, they're projected to build out something in the line of 12,000 jumbo jets, worth about $2 trillion. So the economics of the industry are huge. There's some direct manufacturing facilities in Western Canada that employ thousands of people, for Boeing. Yeah, and then Airbus bought Bombardier's C-Series jetliner, which has confirmed deliveries and expected deliveries in the thousands of planes as well. So, from an investment perspective, the airline industry has always been a terrible sector to put money into. I think it was Warren Buffett who said famously, if you want to make $1 million in the airline industry, start with 10 million. It's
it's the old joke, yeah.
Yeah, over time, it's just been a terrible sector to invest in because you've got rising oil prices, which make it hard to do business. You've got regulation. You've got plane crashes. It's very capital intensive. You don't just go to an airplane dealership and order 4 or 5 planes. It's quite complicated to get this type of equipment. Not only that, but you've got the airport costs. You've got all the sub industries. Catering and luggage management. So it's not an easy sector to make money in.
And Dustin, also we've had the 737 MAX problem with Boeing, where the planes have been grounded for such a long time, and they're hoping to get those planes back in the air in the new year. But there's always going to be something with the airline industry, is there not?
Oh, without a doubt. And the 737 MAX, that's having a direct impact on a lot of the corporate earnings out there. Air Canada just reported a weak quarter because of that directly. So, but what's interesting, Bryn, if you look worldwide, and why I'm starting to look at the industry again, is really only about 1 in 5 people have ever been on a plane on the planet. So when you think about that,
really.
Yeah, and that's a pretty hard stat. So if you think of 4/5 of the planet, have the ability to fly in the future for the first time, it's a massive demand number. So just in China alone, they're in the process of building about 5,000 airports. And to give you the scope of that, we've got places in Canada like Brandon, Manitoba, Lethbridge, Alberta, Burnaby that have these smaller regional airports for 50 or 100,000 people. Well, in China, those cities are 500,000 or 1 million people, and we've never heard of them.
It's true. Yeah.
So I think, the last stat I read in terms of future oil demand from the aviation industry is it's going to account for 30 to 40% of future demand growth, I should say. So that's massive. And, when we're looking at such a large industry, I definitely want to make sure that I'm pounding the pavement to see what kind of opportunities I can drum up for clients in that regard.
The other thing, too, is that airlines are finding new ways to basically serve communities. Air Canada and WestJet, for the most part, have been on the hub and spoke, where they've had Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax as their major hubs, and everything else is kind of fed off of there, which probably doesn't make people in Winnipeg or Edmonton too happy, but it's just kind of the way it's gone. That's good economic sense, though, is it not?
It is, but what we're seeing on some of the the cities that have been neglected as the airplane components become lighter and the planes become more fuel efficient, the companies are able to start routes in some of these cities, like Edmonton has started the route for instance to London and to Amsterdam. Winnipeg, I think, had some direct flights to Dublin this past summer. So we're starting to see more of a choice for travelers, and I think that's going to of course provide some investment opportunities going forward.
So you like the direction the airline industry is going. And the funny thing I always laugh about is that we in Canada are very easy to dump all over Air Canada or WestJet because our luggage didn't get someplace, or there was an issue with the weather or whatever. But every time I keep reading all these international publications, both Air Canada and WestJet are in the top 10 to top 15 constantly.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I've actually never been an investor in the airline sector. I'm starting to look at it now. I think that with a lot of the consolidation that's taken place, these companies are, the airlines are almost getting to oligopoly businesses where there's very few competitors to share the profits. So I'm thinking that going forward, it might be a good sector to tiptoe into, combine that with the fact that we probably expect a lower price spectrum on some of the commodities like oil that the airlines depend on going forward, just because of technology lowering the exploration costs, basically. So it's a sector that I'm looking at, I'm following. I haven't invested in thus far, but it's certainly getting very good consideration.
Well, they certainly have your attention, so that's interesting. Interesting indeed. Hey, thanks for your time today. Pushing 10. I love it. I think it's a great topic, and thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Bryn.
Hey, before we go, too, let's tell everybody how they can reach you. Your phone number?
780-905-7729.
And that email address is?
dlamontagne@mackeyresearch.com.
And as we always say, if you'd like some more information, make sure you give Dustin a call. You can also check out their national website, which is mackeyresearch.com. And the other thing we always tell people is that it's a reminder that the markets and financial numbers do change frequently. So what is said today by us can easily change by later today or by tomorrow. So always make sure you check in before you go too much further. Dustin, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Bryn.